Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and if I sound a little flat, it's because I am. We just finished reacting to the Bethesda E3 2019 press conference. I was having a little FOMO before E3 because I'm not there this year, but holy smokes, after today, I'm so happy I did not go to LA. Anyway, I went into Bethesda's E3 with very low expectations. I was not expecting much because it seemed like a down year, sort of like 2017, although some hype was built up for Starfield that time around. But this didn't seem like it was going to be a big Bethesda year, although admittedly after Microsoft's conference, my hopes got a little bit bigger for Bethesda to just surprise me in some way, shape, or form, and they did not deliver, and all it did was scream to me this was a showcase that simply did not have enough, and they didn't learn their lesson from 2017. So what I'm going to do is grade this conference as we go along. I'll cover each game as it was revealed during the show. It's not going to be in some type of chronological order in the terms of what I liked and disliked or vice versa, so do not take it that way. Let's get everything started with object number one on the list, which is Elder Scrolls Blades. So Bethesda opened the show in a way that was thanking fans for feedback and criticism. Todd Howard hit the stage. He talked about Fallout 76, how they messed up, but how they're trying to get things better. But before they got into that, they hopped over to Blades, and I thought this was a really big red flag when they were like, let's open the show with Blades. At least Microsoft opened their conference with The Outer Worlds. I thought it was a little hit or miss because so many games were coming in 2020. It felt like nothing was nearby, and the ones that were nearby didn't show much. But with Bethesda, you know, you're one company. Why are you opening with a game like Elder Scrolls Blades? Anyways, during this Elder Scrolls Blades update, they announced it was coming to the Switch. It would have motion controls, and also that there were going to be updates including solo arena battles, new custom jewelry systems, and a brand new Dragon Quest line, because anything Elder Scrolls related now cannot have 0 dragons because of Skyrim's success. I don't want to be the negative Nancy here on that one. I'm sure some people think it's cool, but I got really soured on Elder Scrolls Blades after I realized there was shadow nerfing going on. Bethesda really ruined the progression in that game. It's still an enjoyable game underneath all of its BS, but right now I don't want to touch the game. However, the sad part is that I thought 76 was actually one of the best parts of the show. So Bethesda Game Studios reps hit the stage and started talking about what was coming to the game, and they first hit on Wastelanders in a smart fashion, not talking about the mode we'll get into after this, which contrasts all the awesomeness I thought that was the Wastelanders update. We saw exactly what I think everyone wanted Fallout 76 to be when it first got announced and when it first came out. What we got at 76 was a pretty bare bones experience, a desolate world, not even a framework that most could buy into. But here, when we see the Wastelanders update, the chat exploded. My friends and I freaked out. I saw Twitter explode. Like, people were excited to see a more traditional style Fallout experience come to 76 with dialogue options, choice and consequence being an emphasis, skill checks being in the dialogue system. And the way they're doing this is they're saying the first season was about building the wasteland, getting established, and now in the second season, people are going to start coming back. So that's how they're going to build the world. I think this is a pretty interesting turn of events given the response at launch. It would seem to be inevitable that it was going to happen. I just didn't expect it this soon. So I'm really happy to see that. It's something that I am now highly anticipating. It has me a little more positive about the future of Fallout 76. It seemed like the conversation system was more akin to that of Elder Scrolls Online. The screen sort of locked up, it zoomed in on a person's face, and I personally don't mind that since they have to take a more MMO approach to it. But anyway, it was a relief seeing that. We'll see if it pays off. I know it's an idea, and I know a lot of people out there will just tell me, Matty, you should have been there in the first place, and you guys know me, I'm not big on 76, I agree with you, but I'm not going to complain when I see the game heading in the right direction. Seriously, I think they should at least be told, good job, you are doing the things we are asking for, even if it took a little while. On the other side, after this, was the announcement of a free trial from June 10th to June 17th. So if you are curious about 76 right now, and I don't think it's in the state where people should want to play it, I think what we all were excited about and what we care about is coming later in the year, but you can also get in on the brand new Battle Royale mode. So Fallout 76 is launching a Nuclear Winter Battle Royale mode. I believe I was one of the first, if not the first, to report it on Twitter that it was coming. It is a 52 player count. It will have PvE elements. And I thought that was interesting. There's going to be this thing called the Storm, where pretty much a fire shrinks around you to bring players closer together on the map. But I thought the addition of PvE elements was fun. I'm definitely going to be streaming this a ton. We're going to be playing a lot of it on the channel just for this sneak peek, seeing how it is before it fully launches. But it's going to be interesting to see Fallout 76 take on VR, and it explains, as I also said on Twitter, why they were doing all these shooting and movement updates just before the announcement of a VR mode. It was not coincidental by any means. It was designed directly for that. But it was the one part of the show I was excited about, and it seemed like Bethesda was starting to trend in the right direction after a weird start with Blades, and then they did some pretty big 76 updates. They went to Ghostwire Tokyo, the brand new IP from Tango Gameworks that was announced by Shinji Mikami. And so this game actually looked aesthetically pleasing. It seemed to have a really cool concept. People are disappearing, and that's really all we knew. They didn't give us much to go off of, which was another red flag, because this was now the third game in the show they were announcing, and it was a cool concept, but we didn't know much about it. And that became a trend as the show went on, and the only games they did provide substantial news about were ones that were either A, mobile, or B, existing games, which I just became sorely disappointed about. Part of the fun to E3 is knowing the new stuff coming soon that isn't just existing properties. But anyway, Ghostwire Tokyo, I'm happy that they are trying a new IP. It's clear the Evil Within was not catching on. I really liked the first one. I thought the second one totally lost itself. They needed to just hit the reset button, do something new. And I'm surprised they actually came out and did announce something at this point in time, because The Evil Within 2 just came out about a year and a half ago, so I wouldn't expect to see anything Ghostwire Tokyo related for another 2 years. We'll probably get another trailer next E3, but they're going to quietly work on that game for a while. Still though, really cool setting, really cool idea. I'm very much about the game, it's just I don't know much about it other than it's a Tokyo-based game, and as a weeb, I like that. Alright, I'm going to be honest with you. Anyway, then is where things started to get bumpy. So ZeniMax Online Studios takes the stage, and normally when they do, I'm like, okay, here we go. And they did exactly what we expected. It was the Elder Scrolls Online cinematic trailer. They talked about their new DLC coming in the fall. They have a very strict schedule with Elder Scrolls Online. They stuck to it. There really wasn't anything shocking there. But then something else happened. They brought back Commander Keen, which was apparently an old game from id that a lot of people liked. And the way they brought it back and the amount of attention they gave it, because some of these games I'm talking about, like Ghostwire Tokyo, fly by, like 3-4 minutes. But Commander Keen had like a representative on stage, 2 trailers, a lot of discussion, and it was a mobile free-to-play game that apparently, based off what I'm reading online, is really butchering the original material. And they're like, this is how you dig up the game from the past. You really are going to do this. And this was mobile game number 2 of 3 in Bethesda's conference. And man, I just gotta say, it really, really, really disappointed me when I saw Bethesda focusing a ton on mobile games, because it showed A, them losing themselves, and B, overcompensation. They did not have enough, and when you're gonna dedicate like 8 minutes to a brand new mobile game just because it's new, that's when they can clearly see there wasn't enough there, and they just shouldn't have done a show this year as far as I'm concerned. There was not enough, and what was there was pretty lackluster. And so then after Commander Keen, we shift over to Elder Scrolls Legends, where they announced the Moons of Elsewhere expansion, which was one of the more confusing trailers. I mean, I'm watching this E3 conference intensely, and I wasn't sure what this live action trailer was supposed to depict. It seemed almost like wasted resources. I was like, is this for the DLC or something? But anyway, I was kind of in and out at that point, so that could have been it too, but you can't blame me. I mean, they just hit me with Commander Keen. I was like trying to process that, and then they moved on to this. Afterwards was Rage 2, which I was happy to see more of, man. Rage 2 is my favorite game of the year so far. Admittedly, I have not played Devil May Cry 5, which seems up my alley too, so that could maybe rank on my list at some point, but right now as it stands, I loved Rage 2. I thought it was open world, explosive action. I thought the moments that the game gave you to breathe, cool down from the action was nice, but a lot of people wanted it to be like Doom and keep going. I thought the way that Rage 2 did it was much better, and they announced DLC for the game. So it's going to be coming with new cheat codes, such as calling it a mech, there's going to be new vehicles, and a Rise of Ghosts expansion. So a lot more coming to Rage 2, and I'm all about that personally. I enjoyed the base game, I played it pretty much to 100% completion, and I'm looking forward to more. Then there was Wolfenstein Youngblood. Really not much you didn't know already about this game. It's coming out in a month. They've released trailers about it. We saw another trailer here. They confirmed once more, hey, we're doing Cyberpilot. That's coming out this year. We also have Wolfenstein Youngblood coming out in a month. And Wolfenstein Youngblood, if you don't know, is a co-op Wolfenstein game. It looks like a lot of fun. I thought they'd give it a little more attention because it is dropping so soon, but strangely enough, they're kind of hiding the game away, in my opinion. But anyway, that was another game that I felt they could have spent time on because it's coming so soon, and highlighted the reason why co-op Wolfenstein works well and the level design, how everything works. But they quickly moved on. But they did move on to a game that I thought was really, really cool sounding, and that was Deathloop. So when Arcane hit the stage, which I personally didn't expect, right then and there I was like, we're safe. We're getting something good. Because as far as I'm concerned at this point in time, Arcane is the best studio Bethesda owns. They make the best games. I love ESO. I think older Bethesda game studios was fantastic. I'm happy to see the Wastelanders expansion. We'll see if that pans out and they can rise up the ranks. But right now, as it stands, Arcane is Bethesda's best studio. When you look at Dishonored, its old series, and then you look at Prey and Mooncrash, just a great studio there. So seeing Deathloop, a new IP where the name explains it, it's a guy and a girl who have this goal to kill each other to escape this loop, and when one kills another, they wake up and they continue this loop, and apparently it's a single player game. It's that same meticulous level design, and you have tons of options on how you want to approach it. It sounds like such a neat concept, but since it's done by Arcane, the hype goes from like here to here. It instantly elevates, and I'm really stoked about this one. And much like Ghostwire, with Deathloop, you were kind of left with just this trailer, cinematics, and then no release window, no info about the gameplay. Are you going to choose one of these characters in the beginning? How's that all going to work? There was nothing like that for either of these games, and these could have been the two titles that sort of bubbled up Bethesda's show. They could have received time, and I know the excuse for some will be like, well, Matty, they didn't have enough to show. So don't show it. So don't show it. And once again, goes back to the original point of this entire video. There was no reason to do a press conference. And then they concluded it with what we all expected. I mean, they did the mural on the Figueroa Hotel like they did with 76 last year. They put Doom Eternal there this year, so you knew that was Bethesda's big game. And so Doom is actually going to be releasing on November 22nd of this year, a little bit later than I expected. There's new gameplay shown that looked like Doom on steroids. It was incredibly fast-paced. There was a ton of tools and weapons and alternate fire modes, and the level design was great. It looked like a blast, and I simply can't wait to play. And they also announced, more importantly, a new multiplayer mode. Now, Doom's multiplayer didn't take off like I think it wanted it to. I played a lot of it on stream, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, to be honest with you, but I knew it was nothing special. So it seems like battle mode, which is what this is called, is designed to be that special something. So the tagline for this was skill versus strategy. So you have two Doomslayers and two demons. The demons can spawn other demons and attack the Doomslayers. Meanwhile, the Doomslayers are doing the typical first-person shooting action. And I thought this looked really neat. I think multiplayer constantly needs fun spins because everyone complains about BR, for example, getting boring, but it's because we're playing the same map, the same mode constantly. So we always need to inject new DNA, new blood. We need innovation in that department. So I'm really happy to see they're focusing on something new here, and I can't wait, because if they do that on top of Snap Map than the original campaign, it's going to be a really meaty package, and I'm all about that. So that kind of concludes what Bethesda had at their E3 2019 conference, and if you didn't watch the show and you're just catching up with this video and you're disappointed, you have every right to be disappointed, because let's recap. We have an update for Blades, an update for 76, a new IP in Ghostwire Tokyo, a trailer for a DLC that just dropped for ESO, on top of a DLC coming in the fall that is on a much smaller scale, a IP being resurrected in a mobile game that really everyone was very disappointed with. We also have an expansion for another existing game, Elder Scrolls Legends, DLC for Rage 2, then we have Wolfenstein Youngblood, Deathloop, and Doom Eternal, all games that are hopefully coming within the next year or so. But if you notice, there's more updates, more DLC than anything on this showcase, and that's why people get upset. Not because expectations were high, not because we didn't get Fallout 3 Remastered, not because there wasn't Starfield, it's because there wasn't enough. You know, you could have gotten away with just releasing some trailers for Doom and Wolfenstein on your own time, and then coming out next year and maybe showcasing Deathloop with some gameplay for its first reveal, Ghostwire with some gameplay for its first reveal, Starfield getting a new trailer and some gameplay. Doesn't that sound way better? Those are 3 huge games. Instead, you force your hand with a bunch of announcements way too early, and here we are with a pretty disappointing showcase. So I just had to get that out. Those are my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe you disagree. Maybe people are more excited about, like, I don't know, 76 than I think. But overall, it seemed like the general public was pretty disappointed with what a messy conference this was. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Fire away, ladies and gentlemen. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Those links are in the description down below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting that, as it fuels all the content I create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.